Hi, this is Zab here with Bulletin Board Heroes Extra here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 17th of June. Can't really beat yesterday's sequence of stocks, especially Tower being up 400-500%, but we can always have a go. Starting with Cell AI, which has broken out of that rising trend channel base that it was in since last May. The level there around the 0.61 mark, and above that looking for 0.9 pence perhaps by the end of next month, giving a bit of extra time given that we've already gone up a long way even from the retracement point at 0.4 pence. RSI 50 rebound, which we like. We had plenty of those before the big spike higher, so it is a leading indicator on the upside, one of the best ones you can get, especially when combined with the rising 50 and 200-day lines, which is what we had there. We also had that kind of thing back in January with an RSI 50 rebound, and you can see the shares went up from 0.05 to 0.5 on in a very small time frame there, so looking pretty exciting there on that stock. On to Coinsilium, which was one of yesterday's big heroes. We were looking for, well, basically suggested that above 12p was going to 30, and that is what it did in very quick time indeed. You can see that 12p, bit of resistance there, and then went straight through. There was a slight pause intraday at 20, and then the 30 pence level easily reached. Current situation is that above 30 pence, we're looking for a final destination. May never get there, but a final destination, which is a 2017 resistance line projection, and that is heading for the 50 pence zone. And you can see that's just arrived by connecting the late 2017 peak with the 2021 peak, so the pandemic peak as well. But the ideal scenario here is that we stay above the 30 pence level while we are on our way to 50 pence. On to something slightly less exciting, but still okay, I suppose, and that is Distil. Here we've reached our first, the second target actually, because we broke the resistance, we broke the falling wedge there at the end of March, but the first major target there, 0.22, above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking for 0.4 pence, which is the upper parallel of that broadening triangle in place since back in October. What's also interesting is the way that you have these sort of spikes and then sideways spikes and then sideways. So maybe now we're getting a bit of momentum above the old October resistance at 0.21 and can get up to 0.4 pence by the end of next month or even sooner. On to Fragrant Prosperity, which was one of the heroes in April before the Bitcoin excitement started. I think this was an bit of AI excitement, but here we've had a solid end-of-day close after a very strong candle to start the week, and with the opening at the low, closing at the high. Almost did that again today, but above that 50-day line at basically at 1 pence. Looking for the top of that falling trend channel there, 1.9 pence. Perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Obviously, when the stock moves, it really can move, and ideally, there's no price action back below the floor of that channel there, 0.87. Whatever happens. Onto a stock which has been a dog for several years and may continue to bark in similar fashion, but in the interest of being fair, and you never know these days, we have broken above the 50-day line here at Nostra at 0.16, and above that, looking for a best-case scenario target up to 0.35. The interesting point here is that there's a gap to fill there around 0.025, so maybe that is an achievable target, even if the shares don't go all the way to the upside, or obviously just fall flat on their face from where they are now. On to a more normal chart, which is Ondine, and here, well, it's actually not that normal in the sense that we've had a gap to the upside for the shares, or at least a gap to the upside to start this month. Very strong candles, as you can see there, opening at the low, closing at the high on several occasions, shows or indicates that somebody's rather hungry for the stock. We have an initial target there at 15 pence, which hopefully will be done in a few days. But the best case scenario target up to the upper parallel of that rising trend channel there from March, and that is heading for hopefully as high as 22 pence by the end of next month. Ideally now we obviously stay on the right side of the 10 pence level. Should be difficult given the way that both the 50 and 200 day moving averages are rising, and obviously the rally here started with an unfilled gap to the upside. but they are rising and curling up very sharply, a bit like Tau was yesterday, but we'll see that in a second. The target of 51 pence hit on Panther metals, which I have to admit, even I wasn't that much of a believer, but the target there at 51 pence easily broken on an end-of-day close basis. You can see also we've got those very strong candles. You don't get those sorts of candles opening at the low, closing at the high by accident. That normally means that somebody's very keen on buying the stock, or somebody has a reason for buying the stock, and obviously we got the reason today. The next target here is up to 69 pence, which is the area of the 200-day moving average and the upper parallel of that rising February price channel base. See also the 50-day line rising very sharply at the moment. This stage, early and end of day close back below today's floor at 48 pence, really delaying the upside scenario, suggesting there's something wrong. Completely missed the Seascape RNS. Well, I didn't miss it. It was rather busy this morning, but here you can see that we have the news of the award of the Tamaris cluster, which is obviously very exciting, and the shares already anticipating that twice in the past. Once was the June rally, then the October one, and now we had a gap close by signal back on the 30th of May. That obviously worked, and we gapped up today. The current situation is that we're looking for the top of that rising trend channel from this time last year, heading for the 60 pence area, hopefully by the end of this month. Upside value while we hold above the November resistance zone around 43 pence. Moving along to the stock of the year, as I call it, just to irritate people, basically. Here we've got the market cap only down to £600 million, basically, so obviously tough times. We have hit all the previous targets, I think in the recent past, 150, then 220. And then looking for 340, which I think the high today was 355. So not bad on that front. We were basically looking for that line, that the purple line, to be hit, and sort of narrowly exceeded. Best case here above that line there at the moment, 310, would be up to £4.70, but that might be slightly a push too far. In the meantime, we've got the risk of the shares coming back to the 220 zone, maybe 225. Tomorrow, just to have a little bit of a rest. The floor of the channel there around the 205 level. So if there is any rug pull, that would be the area to look for. But at least while we're above that uptrend line there from the last week or two, 205 still very much capable of hitting the top of that channel, and £4.50 to give, I suppose, to give the stock a £600 or £700 million market cap, which has been a great creator of value. Must be upsetting a few bears on that one. Moving along to a stock which I looked at 24 hours ago, and I think the shares were rather lower than they are now. Probably one of the best calls there has been here. We're actually only looking for 1.6 pence. I think the stock was only around the penny area, so we're looking for 1.6. But best case scenario here was previously up to 3.35 pence, which is that resistance line projection there. And if you're really keen on the shares, the maximum we're looking for in the near term, the equivalent of 450 on Smarter Web, would be up to 7 pence in coming days or weeks. But at least while we're on the right side of 4 pence, looking for 7 pence perhaps still on Tau. Moving on to TAP, which has been something of a laggard given the market it's in. But finally, with the move to AIM, it seems that it's getting a bit of love. We've got a rising 50-day line there. We've got a bounce off the floor of that channel. And we've also got, as you can see once again, similar pattern, opening at the low, closing at the high on 3 consecutive sessions. So it looks like somebody's quite hungry and quite keen on this one. Maybe they're going to go for a Bitcoin strategy as well. 3.5 pence at the top of the range, looking for that perhaps by the end of next month, which obviously would be quite decent. The other point to note is that we've got the sharply rising 50 and 200-day lines on the TAP chart. The stock which the great and the good have been in, but maybe haven't been rewarded as much as they should have been until now, is Tiger Royalties. And here it looks as though its time has come, third time of asking, trying to get through the 0.16 area. And looking forward the shares to hit the top of that rising trend channel from back in December, which is pointing at 0.26, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, or hopefully a bit sooner than that. On to Vault, which has also been chased by the great and the good here. Had a nice spike up to the 0.065 level. Still looking for, on a 1 to 2 month view, up towards the 0.15 area, which is obviously historic level, but probably if you're cautious now, you wait for an end of day close above the autumn resistance 0.06 before assuming 0.15 is on its way. On to the last two and more normal fare. First one is Xtract, where looks as though we're in a mid-move consolidation. Minimum on the upside expected to be 1.3 pence, 1.35 pence. And I suppose after that, then we can look for a proper move up towards former 2023 resistance in the 1.8 pence zone. But just going for 1.4 or so while we're above the 0.8 pence zone. Finishing off with Wishbone, which seems to be limbering up for a decent move. Been lots of attempts here, but the sticky resistance area has been 0.18, and looks like we, with an end-of-day close above that, we could have now enough momentum and enough energy after the bear trap rebound, and with a rising 50-day line and RSI 50 rebound to get the shares up to 0.28 by the end of next month. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.